Hello everyone. In this video I'm gonna create two virtual machines, one with Ubuntu 14.04 and one with CentOS 7.1, and I'm gonna install and configure OpenMANO in them. So the first thing I'm gonna do is to create to cook out two images. Okay, so image create. Okay. Okay, and selecting its QCO2. Okay, so this machine is ready. Okay, so both machines are now running, and I'm gonna install the both operating systems. I'm pausing the video, and I'll resume when both of them are installed. Okay, the two operating systems are installed, so let's log in. And for my convenience, what I'm gonna do is to SSH to here. Okay. Okay. And now let's open another terminal. So using these two terminals, we're gonna follow the instructions in the GitHub to install OpenMANO and to configure it. Okay, so let's perform installation. If we go to the GitHub site, here we have how to perform the quick installation. Okay, so it's just downloading a script. Okay, enter. Here we have to download wget, since this is the CentOS Miller installation. And I'm also gonna install Vim. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start executing this one. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video. I will finish downloading the wget. I will download the GitHub script and execute it, and I'll resume when I have some prompt from one of the two windows. Okay, so now I'm being asked about the database in both screen. So in the CentOS one, in the right one, I'm gonna say I want to configure MariaDB. Okay, so I set my password. No, I just had to enter to click enter because I had no password. Okay, and now I say I want to enter my password. Okay, I select my one. Okay, remove anonymous users, yes. I'm gonna say no because I maybe will be accessing remotely. Remove this, yes, and yes, and yes, I want to open the ports. Okay, root, my password, the one I just set. Okay, now let's go to the Ubuntu one. Okay, okay, it looks like it's not prompting for anything else. I'm gonna pause again. Okay, now in the Ubuntu one, I'm gonna use root credentials, my password. Okay, and in CentOS one is asking me if I want to install Floodlight. This is required in case we want to use OpenMANO in normal mode, because we are gonna be connecting to the switch in order to establish all the data plane connections. It's possible to say no, and you could even say no and later install it manually. There is no restriction about that. I'm gonna say yes, and I will probably have to do Ctrl+C to cancel the wget, because the Floodlight site is working but the download page is not. At least that was the situation yesterday. So I'm gonna say yes, and if I see that the wget is just keeping retrying, I will do Ctrl+C. So yes. Okay, it's not starting, so it looks like I'm gonna do the Ctrl+C. I'm just gonna pause again, and when I'm prompt in the other window in the Ubuntu one, I will resume. Okay, I see that in the CentOS one is not working. In a few seconds, I guess I will see a retry message. I'm gonna say no in the Ubuntu one, so it's gonna continue installing, and it actually finished it. And here I'm gonna do Control C. Okay, so the script is finishing. Okay, so while it's finishing in there, I'm gonna download from my host computer the Floodlight package. Okay. Okay, and we have here, getting started, we have Floodlight installation. Okay, we have to just compress do ant. As I said no, I don't know if the ant package is downloaded or if I will have to install this. So I will probably have to install this. Copy. Okay, it's not, so I'm gonna install everything that is said in the GitHub in the Floodlight manual installation. In the CentOS one, I won't have to download anything because I said yes, and prior trying to download the Floodlight has installed all the requirements. So I will just have to do the cp and tar and do ant. I'm gonna pause again. Okay, the OpenMANO one is asking me to open the port that OpenMANO will be using. This is required if we want to use the GUI from outside this machine. So I'm gonna say yes. Okay, and now let's do the cp for my host machine. Okay. Okay, so in the CentOS installation we have everything already installed. As I'm not gonna change any of the default values, it's already configured. It's configured with all the default options. I have to say that by default OpenBeam is working in test mode. Let me show you. Okay, as you can see here, the mode is test. This means that we are not gonna do anything real. All the actions we are gonna perform are only gonna be performed in database. So when we say that we want to deploy a VNF, all the virtual machines associated to that VNF won't be started anywhere. Okay. even if we define a real host and a real compute node, and we provide to the OpenBeam with the credentials to access to that compute node, the machines are not going to be started. Okay, this is the test mode. We can, okay, while we finish installing, I'll recap. We have the normal mode, the host only, the development mode. Normal, test, host only, and development. That's it. Normal is the is the normal one where you really deploy things and where all the data plane connectivity is done. Okay. The test mode is the one I was mentioning. That is everything is fake. I mean everything is done only in database. All deployments are not performed. Host only is that we are gonna deploy the virtual machines in the selected compute node, but the connectivity is not going to be established. And the development mode is a fake version of the normal mode. What does this mean? This means that we are going to create virtual machines. We are going to provide connectivity to those virtual machines, but the connectivity is not going to be in the data plane interfaces. They are not going to really be data plane interfaces. The development mode is going to change the description of our VNFs to make them affordable for a normal PC. So we can use the OpenMANO to deploy a VNF in a normal PC, in a desktop computer, and this is only useful for developing VNFs when we don't have a compute node available, but we won't get a big performance with this deployment. This is only for development. Okay, it looks like the Ubuntu installation it's taking a while, so I will pause again. Okay, I'm gonna exit this configuration file. I'm gonna pause again, and I will resume when it's completely installed also in Ubuntu. Okay, so now let's do Ant. Okay, now it's installing Floodlight, and this is the last step for having the Ubuntu ready. Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, now we have everything installed and using the default configuration, using all the default ports we use, and having the OpenBeam in test mode. Okay, the following is not compulsory but convenient. That is that you do logout and login, because as part of the installation we have included in the .bashrc to autocomplete the commands. So if we do now an OpenBeam tap, we are gonna get a list of everything we can do. Host, add, for example. Okay, so it's much easier to do everything having the autocomplete enabled. What I'm gonna do next is to follow all the instructions that we have in the GitHub in the getting started. Okay, if we go getting started, here we have the installation, manual installation. Okay, configuration, we are leaving everything as is. Okay, so how to use. Here we have how to add a host, how to add a net, how to create tenants. I'm gonna go performing all these steps, so you will see how it's working. Okay, what's the first thing to do? The first thing to do is to start OpenMANO. Okay, so service OpenMANO start. This is gonna start the all three components: Floodlight, OpenBeam, and OpenMANO. Okay. Service. Okay, it's not auto-completing for some reason. Okay, I don't know why, but the path is not including the local beam, where we have the OpenMANO, OpenBeam, and service OpenMANO. So I'm gonna manually include this. Equals to $home bin or path. Okay. Service OpenMANO, now it's completing, auto-completing, start. Okay, starting floodlight. Starting OpenBeam. Okay, if you see that while the three components are starting, one of them, okay, it happened. If one of them reports an error, this is something we have to solve. It's not really reporting, or it's not reporting a real error. If we do a status, okay, we see the three components are running properly. The problem is that starting the OpenMANO took too much time, and the script understood that there was an error. Okay, we have to solve this, but just in case you get an error, do an status and make sure if it's a real error or not. Anyway, all the three components are started in screens. So if you see an error and the status is saying that it's not the service is not running, just do an screen -x whatever, enter in the screen, and you will see a more descriptive message. Okay, so let's do a clear. So we are in the same line. Okay, so let me get in here. Okay, everything that is done in the example. Okay, in the example in the GitHub, we start with the OpenBeam. We have a few descriptors that to be used as examples. In ls OpenMANO OpenBeam test. Okay, here are the descriptors we are gonna use. So if we do OpenBeam host add OpenMANO OpenBeam test host add hosted sample 0 JSON. Okay, we have included this host, this other host, okay. There is not an example 2. Let me check. Example host example 2 JSON. Okay, I typed something wrong. Oh yes, I didn't autocomplete. Okay, an example 3. Okay, so we have all these 4 hosts. If I do a host list, okay, I get these hosts. If I do a host list, one of them, I get the ID. If I say to get more details, I get the full descriptor. Okay, so it's saying the number of cores and the number of interfaces that it has. It's important that these interfaces are being properly added, because we have in the database loaded the information that is matching these interfaces of the compute node with the data plane switch. Okay, how is this information provided? Okay, you have two options. You have the option to include extra parameters in the description of the compute and of the host add. This is done instead of doing. Well, it's actually what we are doing here. You can do OpenBeam host add and provide connectivity credentials to the. Actually, if I do this, Okay, it's gonna keep asking me how is the host name named. Let's fake 5, for example. User Pablo host access IP. Okay. If I continue, I don't know if this is the last question or not. I'm gonna provide an IP address, and what the OpenBeam host add is gonna do is to connect to that machine, get a description of that machine, and include it as one of the compute nodes. Okay, this is option 1. Option 2 is that we provide a description in JSON format. How we obtain this description in JSON format? We have in OpenMANO scripts. Here we have a script that is called host.add. Okay, this host.add okay, I'm gonna execute it in here, even if it's just the virtual machine for OpenMANO. It's not a real compute node. Okay, host.add, we have to include parameters that are gonna be fake user and also fake hostname. Okay, it's gonna keep asking us some things. It's asking us if we want to provide the connectivity information. This is the connectivity information. I'm saying that is optional. In case we say that we want to provide the connectivity information, yes. Okay, so it's gonna ask us what is the DPID of the switch we are connecting to. It's providing us a fake DPID. In case we are using test mode, we can use this fake DPID or host only mode. We can provide this fake DPID, and when we keep it, the thing is that as I don't have data plane interfaces in here, I'm not being prompt for interfaces, but it will ask me for each data plane interface to which ports in the switch is connected. This is gonna provide extra information in the host descriptor, and when we add the host to OpenBeam using a host.add, it's going to include that information, not only the CPUs, memory, and interfaces, but also to which switch and to which port in the switch is each interface connected. Okay. Why I'm saying this? Because if we don't provide that information and we don't, let me check in the website, in the GitHub, where this information is shown. Okay, let me show you. It's explained here. Okay, we have this description that is actually just being loaded in the database. In this description, we are showing. Let me clear this again. In this description, we are showing how the ports are connected. Okay, so we are saying the name of the host, the PCI address of the data plane interface, and to which port we are connected. Okay, for the 4 fake hosts that we are including in the examples, we have populated the database with this information. So even if you don't add the host, you have this information in your database when you install OpenMANO. If you want to install an additional host, no matter if it's fake or real, you have to do, or either you include the information in here and you load into the database this information using what I have shown you, okay, this, or you provide the host description using the host.add script. Okay, so we have all the 4 hosts currently included because we have done the host add, and we also have populated the interfaces connectivity in the database. In this case, always you have to do first include the connectivity into the database and then do the host add, unless you are giving the information about connectivity inside the host add. But in this case, we didn't have to do the load into the database because it has been automatically done during the installation. Okay, so now that let's do the same. Being host that. Okay, let's do the same for the CentOS. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, and open host list. Okay. Now we can do an OpenBIM netlist. Okay, we don't have any network defined, but we can also use some examples that we have. OpenBIM net create, OpenMANO, OpenBIM tests, networks. Okay, net example 0, net example 1, sample 2, and 3. Oops. OpenBIM nest list. Okay, we have the 4 nets defined. Okay, let's do the same in this one. 3, 2, 1, and 0. We have the nets defined. Another possibility is that you just do an OpenBIM net create, and then it's gonna ask you about how you want to do. For example, okay, this is gonna be Bridgeman. Okay, it's gonna be publicly available, and it's gonna connect to default. Okay, this is the same description. But request. Okay, it's actually what I'm doing is to create a net to the default connection that is exactly the same that I have in here. So maybe that's the error I'm getting. OpenBIM net. I'm gonna show you how it looks. List default. Okay, this is the network I was trying to create. Okay, so next thing to do is to create a tenant in OpenBIM. OpenBIM tenant create, it's gonna prompt, so I'm gonna say admin. Description, it's keep it as admin, okay? And it's giving me the UID. Okay, if I do OpenBIM config, it's showing me the information that OpenBIM has. OpenBIM config is saying me that the OpenBIM tenant is none, because we have created a tenant but we didn't include this information. So what we have to do is to load it in a variable. So let's do an export. OpenBIM tenant equals to this UID. Okay, and we are gonna also this to .bash rc. Don't forget that is the double sign we want to append, not to overwrite. Okay, so if we now do an openbeam config, now we have the full information. Okay, so let's do the same. Let me I think that I can say, no, I have to say minus minus name. I'm not sure. Yes. Okay. So we have this created. We have to do an export openbeam tenant equals to this. Okay. Bash rc. Okay. And now let's go to the OpenMANO. Okay, let's clear. If we do the same but with OpenMANO config, it's saying that we have a default OpenMANO tenant that is this one with this, and we don't have any data center. Okay. Let's create a new tenant. Okay. So OpenMANO tenant create OpenMANO tenant create my tenant, for example. Okay. Now let's save this to start using it. Okay. Okay. And now that we have configured the tenant, let's create a data center. Okay. So GTP. These are the credentials for the OpenBeam, that in this case it's in the same machine, localhost, the port that we have configured, that is the default one, 9080 OpenBeam. Okay, so we have created the data center. And now that we have created the data center, we have to attach it. MANO data center attach, my DC. PIM tenant ID, and let's, sorry, my DC, my DC, okay. Okay. Okay, so now we have created the data center and attached it. If we do an OpenMANO net data center we have to say in which data center, my DC. Okay, we see that we don't have any nets, even if we define the nets before. Okay, why is this? Because the OpenBeam has the information, but we have to do a data center update in order the OpenMANO get this information. So So data center net update mydc. Okay, yes, and we have got this information. Sorry. Okay, so now these are available. OpenMANO data center net update. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay, so we have them available. And now let's create a few VNFs as examples. Okay, first what I'm gonna do, in order to be able to use the graphical interface, we have to configure it. Okay, so cd openmano GUI beam. We are gonna need the tenant. Oh, I didn't save the data center. Okay, let's first do that. Okay, and let's do the same in here. OpenMANO data center. Okay, and now what I wanted to do is to get the tenant, because here in config PHP we have to say the mano tenant. Okay, if we don't do this, the graphical interface won't be able to connect to the database. Okay, so it's configured. Let's this is the one. Okay, OpenMANO. This is the CentOS one. And this is the Ubuntu one. Okay, so we see that we don't have scenarios. Okay, we see that we don't have VNFs, but we have the networks we have defined, and in the physical view we have the 4 hosts we have added. Okay, and here we have the same. Okay, so what we are gonna do now is to add some VNFs and a couple of scenarios, so we have them available in here. Okay, so OpenMANO VNF create, and we have again a few examples in OpenMANO OpenMANO vnfs, I think, yes, examples. Okay, we have Linux YALM, and okay, data plane BNF1 and data plane BNF2. Okay, so this is the Ubuntu one. This is this one. Okay, if we go to BNFs, we have here these BNFs loaded. Okay, well, here we don't have them, and we are gonna do the same here. OpenMANO here, Linux data plane 1, data plane 2. Okay, and now let's create some scenarios. Open scenarios, examples. We have a simple, that is one that don't have data plane interfaces, and one complex. Okay, and let's do the same in here. So we have the same in both of them. Okay, and now if we show this, if we go to scenarios, we have simple and complex. Scenarios, simple and complex. Okay, this is the complex scenario, this is the simple one. As you can see, this one is just connected to the default network, and in this one all the BNFs are connected to this bridge. Well, not this one, and they are also connected through data plane interfaces. Okay, if we, for example, want to make a modification to this scenario, the easiest way to do it is to say that we want to clone the scenario. Okay, let's imagine that, for example, I don't want to have this Linux one. Okay, so let's say remove. Okay, we have this other scenario, and yes, and for example, I want to use the MacVit app to access to these 3 VNFs. Okay, and we have to say a number that is gonna be modified 1. This is just an example. Okay, we save, we get a success message, and we have now the complex, mod 1, and simple. Okay, we are ready to deploy. As I said before, we are using OpenVim in test mode. This means that when I deploy, everything inside OpenMANO is going to be working the same that in normal mode, because we are going to check resources to check if we have room enough in our physical nodes. We are going to create the descriptors, and we are going to launch virtual machines. But the thing is that launching of virtual machines and the connectivity among the data plane interfaces is not going to be performed. All the computation is done, the reservations in the database are done, but we are not deploying anything in the physical host. Actually, these physical hosts are fake ones. Okay, so let's deploy this. Okay, it's asking me what name I want to give to the instance. Okay, I'm gonna use the same name that than the scenario. Okay, and we are getting a success message. Okay, and as you can see, it's saying that the 3 machines are running. Okay, I can update. It's just a refresh of here. I can shut down the machines. Okay, it's not auto-refreshing, so that's why the update button is in there. Now all the 3 machines are stopped. If we want to start them, we just do start. Okay, and they are running now. This is the shutdown, and the force off is like the destroy in Birch. It's gonna force to do it. We can also reboot them. We can delete, that is delete the instance, I mean remove it. And we can rebuild. Rebuild, what does rebuild mean? Rebuild means that we are gonna delete and then we are gonna deploy again the scenario using the same instance scenario. This means that if we have done, imagine we have deployed the machines, we have made some modifications inside the virtual machines, and then we click rebuild. What we are doing is that we are removing the images that we were running, the instances, and we are deploying again from the base image. This means that all the changes we have done will be lost. So you have to be careful with this. Remember that if you shut down, there is no problem. You will be using the same image when you start again. But if you delete, you are deleting all the instance. So next time you deploy, you are going to deploy from zero. You are going to deploy from the base image. If you want to keep all the changes you have done, what you have to do is to do a snapshot. At the moment, we don't have a snapshot functionality. We achieve that behavior, but we don't have an OpenBeam or OpenMANO snapshot. What we have to do is to stop the virtual machines using OpenBeam VM shutdown. That is the same that doing shutdown here. You can do shutdown of all of them, or you can just say I want to shut down this one. And when the machine is shut down, there is a functionality. Let me show you. Okay, if we do open beam VM list, we get a list of all machines that are running. VM shutdown. We can say, for example, VM shutdown of this one. Okay, it's asking for confirmation. Okay, or we can do a shutdown of all of them. If we give no parameters, it's gonna do with all of them. Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. Okay, so they are inactive now. If we want to create a snapshot, what we do is create image. Okay, so it's OpenBeam, create image from this virtual machine, and this is my new image. Okay, OpenBeam create image. Okay, OpenBeam VM create image. Okay, so are you sure you want to create this image? Yes. Okay, we have a new created image. What we will have to do is, since the VNF we have defined is using a specific image, and now we have a different image. If we want to start using this new image, we will have to define again a VNF, but using this new image, and define again a scenario, but using the new VNF that is using this new image. Okay, so this is how we are achieving right now the snapshot functionality. We would like to implement this in a simple command, but at the moment, even being an open source project, the developers are only the ones in Telefonica. There is no more people joining the project yet. So adding new functionality is taking a while. I invite all of you to start deploying functionality for OpenMANO, because I'd really like to create a big community around this. Okay. I think that all the basic functionality, okay, I can do, for example, OpenMANO scenario list. So you see the scenarios we have defined, and if we do an instance scenario list, we have the instance we have. We can do an instance scenario delete. Okay, say yes. Okay, it has been deleted, and if we check it in the GUI, okay, we have to refresh. Okay, it's not in there anymore. I think I have covered all the basic functionality. Again, I have been using it in test mode. Using it in normal mode is the same, but you have to configure when you do a host add, you have to configure a real host, so we are able to connect to it, and it's very important. It's explained in the GitHub. Very important when we are using real compute nodes. Remember to exchange the SSH key from the OpenMANO to the compute host, because the OpenMANO needs to SSH directly the compute host in order to deploy virtual machines. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching, and hope to be here again soon showing you more interesting stuff. Please, any doubts you have, you can write in the website, in the OpenMANO website. We have here, where is it? We have here an email address, or you can also write me to LinkedIn, YouTube, or any other place. You have also my email address here in GitHub. So just ask whatever you need. Okay, we'll answer as quick as we can. Thank you for watching.